Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're getting into something pretty fundamental, actually. This idea that, well, we're products of our environment. Simple enough on the surface, right?
Mhm. Seems obvious in a way.
But here's the twist, the part that's really transformative. What if you could actually design that environment? Consciously, deliberately.
That's the core of it, yeah. That's what we're diving into today. We're looking at B.F. Skinner's work, a name that, let's be honest, often makes people think of, like external control, manipulation even.
Right, pigeons in boxes, that kind of thing.
Exactly. But what we want to unpack is how his principles, operant conditioning specifically, aren't really about someone else controlling you. They can be incredibly powerful tools for, well, self-mastery.
Self-mastery, I like that framing. Now, this isn't just theory, is it? Especially for you listening, maybe if you're on a path of change or recovery or just trying to live more intentionally, this is practical stuff.
Absolutely. It's about building your own personal Walden too, if you like. Your own world, your own little ecosystem designed by you.
So we're going to explore in detail how you can actually arrange your surroundings, your physical space,
Your routines, your social circles even.
to encourage the behaviors you want, the healing ones, the growth ones, and sort of gently steer away from the patterns that, well, just aren't helping anymore.
Our mission today is really to give you the tools, the mindset to become the architect of your own experience. And we've got a great stack of sources to draw from.
We do. We'll be looking at classics like Skinner's own Beyond Freedom and Dignity,
Foundational stuff.
and bridging that to really practical modern guides like James Clear's Atomic Habits, which builds so much on these ideas.
Yeah, Clear really translates it well. And we'll also touch on psychology, attachment theory, Carol Dweck on mindset.
A six-step Malley on consciousness,
Yeah.
even Frankl and Jung on the search for meaning. It's a rich mix.
It really is. So, yeah, get ready to maybe rethink how you shape your world and definitely how your world is shaping you.
Okay, let's dive into this first big idea. The invisible architect, how environment shapes us. This is where we really need to get a handle on Skinner's core thinking.
Right. And his main point, the foundational argument, is actually quite profound. He's saying our environment, specifically the rewards and consequences floating around in it, shapes almost everything we do. Our choices, our habits.
Everything.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to change something in your life, maybe overcome an addiction or just build better habits, this is, well, it's step one, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have to see the architecture first.
Absolutely essential. We tend to think we're just making independent choices, pulling decisions out of thin air. But Skinner says, hold on, look at the contingencies of reinforcement. Look at what follows your actions.
Contingencies of reinforcement. Okay.
Yeah, it's his term for the relationship between behavior and consequence. And maybe don't think of it as manipulation. Think of it more like understanding the gravity of behavior.
Gravity. How so?
Well, like physical gravity pulls things, right? An apple falls down. Certain environmental forces, these reinforcers, they inevitably pull our behavior in certain directions too, whether we realize it or not.
Okay, that makes sense. So these actions are shaped by these conditions. Let's break down the mechanics then. Operant conditioning. How does it work?
So operant conditioning is how we learn to operate on the world, how our actions get shaped. And it hinges on consequences. Two main types of reinforcement, and this is key. First, positive reinforcement.
This is the one most people know, I think. Behavior leads to something good, so you do it more.
Exactly. You do something, a desirable outcome follows, boom, you're more likely to repeat that behavior. Simple example, kid cleans their room, gets praise, they're probably going to clean it again.
Or like checking your phone, that little dopamine hit from a notification.
Perfect example. That's intermittent positive reinforcement. It's not just random, it's designed to keep you hooked. Every new post, it's a variable reward. Skinner in your pocket, basically.
Wow. Okay, so that's positive. What about the other one, negative reinforcement? This one gets confused a lot.
It really does. People mix it up with punishment all the time, but they're opposites almost. Punishment stops behavior. Negative reinforcement strengthens behavior.
Strengthens it. How?
By letting you escape or avoid something unpleasant, something aversive. Think about the seatbelt chime in your car. It's annoying, right? Putting on your seatbelt makes the annoying chime stop. So the action of putting on the belt is negatively reinforced. You're more likely to buckle up next time to avoid the noise.
Ah, okay. So it's about removing something bad, not adding something good.
Precisely. Or consider someone with social anxiety. They might avoid parties. Why? Because avoiding the party lets them escape the anticipated anxiety. The avoidance behavior itself gets stronger because it removes the unpleasant feeling.
So it reinforces staying home, basically.
Oh, yeah. It has survival value, too, of course. Escaping predators, avoiding danger, that's negative reinforcement keeping us alive. It's a powerful driver.
Okay, so reinforcement, positive or negative, always increases a behavior. What about stopping behavior? That's where punishment and aversive control come in.
Exactly. And this is everywhere, isn't it? Using unpleasant stuff, threats, penalties, criticism, withdrawing privileges, it's woven into, well, almost all social structures. Ethics, law, religion, education, even family dynamics.
The goal is usually to suppress unwanted actions, right? Make people behave.
That's the stated goal. But Skinner pointed out something really interesting. Aversive control doesn't just make people comply, it also produces escape behavior.
Escape behavior.
Yeah. People don't just take it, they find ways out. They might literally leave desert and army, defect from a country, leave a strict religion.
Become a hermit, even.
Sure. Or drop out of a system they find punishing. These aren't just random acts. Skinner saw them as direct products of the aversive conditions. The escape itself is reinforcing because it removes the punishment.
That leads neatly into his idea of the literature of freedom, doesn't it?
It does. And he wasn't talking about dusty philosophy books necessarily. He meant anything, pamphlets, speeches, manifestos, maybe even certain online movements today designed to get people to act.
To escape or attack whoever's controlling them aversively.
Exactly. It's not about just thinking about freedom, it's about inducing action. The reinforcement comes from the potential escape or the attack itself.
Okay, so that connects to how we feel about things, right?
Yeah.
The power of reinforcers and our feelings.
Skinner argued that our value judgments, calling something good or bad, often just reflect its reinforcing effect on us. So behavioral science, by studying reinforcement, becomes a science of values in a way.
So how we feel about, say, the government or the economy, it depends on the reinforcers they use.
Pretty much. If an institution provides security, opportunity, things we find positively reinforcing, we tend to feel good about it, supportive. If it relies heavily on taxes, restrictions, threats, aversive control, we'll feel resentment, maybe want to escape or change it.
Our feelings are like byproducts, indicators.
Yeah, like a thermometer reading for the reinforcement climate. And this taps into something deeper, that human need for significance. Adler talked about this too.
How so?
Adler noted how even failing movements can gain traction by offering people this sense of importance, maybe by condemning others. It rescues them from feeling insignificant. It shows how external things, rewards, belonging, even feeling morally superior can harness that deep need we have.
For good or bad.
Whether good or ill, absolutely. Which is why understanding this whole architecture, these reinforcement patterns, is so critical for self-mastery. You start to see the strings, and then you can decide if you want to pull them yourself.
Seeing the strings. I like that. Which brings us perfectly to our next section, the path to awareness, unpacking our habits. Because if you want to be the architect, you first need to see the current blueprint, right? You need awareness.
Absolutely non-negotiable. James Clear hammers this home in Atomic Habits. You cannot change what you are not aware of. Full stop. Doesn't matter if it's a good habit you want to build or a bad one you want to break. Awareness is the starting line.
And it's tricky because our brains are built for efficiency, right? They love autopilot.
They really do. It saves energy. So with enough practice, behaviors become automatic. We pick up cues, act, get an outcome, often without any conscious thought involved. That's automaticity.
Like driving a car after years of experience. You're not thinking about every little move.
Exactly. Clear talks about the habit line. Point A is when it's new, requires tons of effort, like learning stick shift. Point B, it gets easier, needs less attention. Point C, you cross the habit line, it's automatic. You're shifting gears, talking, planning your day, all at once.
The problem is a lot of our unwanted habits are way past point C too. They're running in the background.
And here's a crucial point Clear makes, especially if you're trying to build new habits or change old ones. Habits form based on frequency, not time. Meaning, just letting time pass won't make something a habit. You have to do it repeatedly. The number of repetitions is what matters, much more than how many days or weeks have gone by. You got to put in the reps.
Okay, so how do we break through that automaticity? How do we actually see these habits that are running on autopilot?
Clear offers some great, really practical tools. One is pointing and calling. Sounds simple, maybe even a bit silly.
Pointing and calling, what is it?
It came from the Japanese railway system, where they need high precision. You basically verbalize your actions as you do them, like checking the stove is off or putting keys in the bowl.
Saying it out loud.
Yep. It lifts the action from unconscious habit to conscious awareness, just for a second. Forces you to notice. It actually reduces errors and makes you more present.
Interesting. Okay, what else?
The habit scorecard. Even simpler. Just list your daily habits, everything you can think of. Brushing teeth, scrolling Instagram, procrastinating, exercising.
The good, the bad, and the neutral.
Exactly. And then mark each one. Positive, plus, negative, or neutral. No judgment, just awareness. It brings those automatic behaviors out into the light. You might be surprised what you find.
I can imagine. But just becoming aware, it's not always straightforward, is it? Our minds can fight back.
Oh, definitely. We have built-in challenges. A big one is cognitive dissonance, Leon Festinger's concept, that uncomfortable feeling when our beliefs and actions don't line up or when we hold conflicting ideas.
I knew we really don't like feeling uncomfortable.
Nope. We're driven to reduce that dissonance. So we tend to seek out info that confirms what we already believe, and we actively avoid stuff that challenges us or makes us feel inconsistent. It creates massive blind spots.
So we might ignore evidence that our habit is harmful because admitting it would clash with our self-image.
Precisely. If you see yourself as a healthy person, acknowledging how much junk food you actually eat creates dissonance. So maybe you just don't pay attention to it. Your internal confirmation bias kicks in.
It's like selective filtering. And Maslow talked about different ways of seeing the world too, right? Rubricized versus Taoistic cognition.
Yeah, Maslow had this fascinating distinction. He said most of our thinking is rubricized, basically. Stale, careless recognition. We see something, quickly slot it into a familiar category based on past experience, and move on. Efficient, but superficial.
Like seeing a tree and just thinking tree, not noticing its specific shape or the way the light hits it.
Exactly. It's autopilot cognition. True appreciation, real insight comes from what he called Taoistic cognition. Fresh, humble, receptive, seeing the thing itself in its uniqueness right now.
But we often avoid that because it's unfamiliar.
Often, yeah. We fear the unknown, dislike ambiguity. So we might jump to conclusions, freeze our perception based on stereotypes just to avoid that discomfort. We stick to the familiar rubrics.
And miss the richness, the detail, and maybe the truth about our own habits and the environment influencing them.
Precisely. This lazy classifying, as Maslow put it, stops us from really seeing. And you need that fresh, humble, receptive awareness, that Taoistic view, to truly understand your patterns and start intentionally designing your world.
Which is exactly what we need to do next. Move from awareness to action. Architecting your world, designing for self-mastery.
Right. This is where the rubber meets the road. We understand the environment shapes us. We've worked on awareness. Now, how do we actively build an environment that supports the person we want to be?
Let's start with the physical stuff. Consciously shaping your physical environment. James Clear has a great tool here too, implementation intentions.
Super practical. It's about getting really specific. Not just, I'll exercise more, but I will behavior at time and location.
Like I will do 20 push-ups at 7 a.m. in my living room.
Exactly. That specificity nails it down. It removes the decision-making burden in the moment. When 7 a.m. comes, you don't debate if or where or how. You just do the planned thing. It makes it easier to bypass distractions, too, because you know what you should be doing.
And the idea is, with repetition, the time and place themselves become triggers.
That's the goal. The cue becomes so strongly linked to the behavior that you might even start to feel an urge, like, oh, it's 7 a.m., time for push-ups. It's like Pavlov's dog, but for your goals. The environment itself starts prompting the desired action. You're designing nudges for yourself.
Designing nudges. I like that. Beyond specific triggers, what about the overall physical space? Does that matter for well-being, for healing?
Hugely. Think about Oliver Sacks and his observations on nature. He talked about how gardens, quiet natural spaces, could help patients relax from identity delirium.
Identity delirium. What's that?
That kind of constant internal chatter, the self-consciousness, the social anxieties that rattle us. He found nature could quiet that, offer this deep wordless communion, restore a sense of calm and self-sufficiency.
Even for people with serious neurological issues.
Yes. He saw moments of reintegration, peace, connection through nature, art, music. It suggests our physical surroundings can be profoundly restorative, creating an environment that supports internal healing, not just by removing stress, but by actively fostering calm.
So creating a peaceful space isn't just fluff. It can be a therapeutic tool.
Absolutely. And think about exercise. Seligman calls it sticky and self-maintaining. Once you get going, the benefits themselves, feeling better, more energy, less stress, act as powerful positive reinforcers.
Making you want to do it again.
Right. Moderate exercise, like 10,000 steps a day, is strongly linked to better health, lower mortality. It's a perfect example of designing a routine that becomes self-perpetuating because the rewards are built right into the activity itself. Your body rewards you for doing it.
Okay. Physical space, routines. But what about people? Cultivating your social environment. This feels huge.
It is huge. Maybe the most impactful part of our environment. Attachment theory, from folks like Levine and Heller, makes it clear. Our need for close relationships isn't just nice to have, it's wired in. It's genetic. A survival mechanism.
Our brains actually have an attachment system.
Yep. A specific biological mechanism designed to create and regulate connection. It drives us to seek proximity, especially in times of need. It's why separation feels so painful. It's deep biology.
Which means our relationships fundamentally shape us.
Right.
From childhood on.
Definitely. How parents interact with kids has massive lasting effects. Csikszentmihalyi, looking at optimal development, found the best family environments had key qualities.
Let me guess. Clarity. Like clear rules.
Yes, clarity. Also centering being interested in the child's feelings now. Choice giving kids agency, possibilities for action, commitment from the parents, dedicating energy, and challenge encouraging growth.
That combination sounds like it would build resilience.
Exactly. It fosters safety, confidence, the ability to navigate the world effectively.
And as adults, maintaining those healthy connections. Communication is key, right? Goldman talks about the XYZ formula.
Yes. Such a great tool for non-defensive communication. When you did X, it made me feel Y, and I'd rather you did Z instead.
So instead of you're always late, it's
When you arrived 30 minutes late without calling X, I felt worried and unimportant. Y. Next time, could you please send a quick text if you're running late?
Z. Focuses on the behavior, the feeling, and a specific request. Takes the personal attack out of it.
Totally diffuses things. And related to that is communicating our attachment needs clearly. We all have them, based on our style, anxious types needing reassurance, avoidant types needing space.
But we have to actually say it, not just hope they guess.
Right. Calmly, clearly, without attacking. I feel more secure when we check in during the day, or sometimes I need a little quiet time to recharge after being social. Even if someone's avoidant and not fully aware why they need space, communicating the need helps both partners understand.
It's like sharing your operating manual. And what about conflict? Is it always bad?
Not at all. Research shows all couples fight, even the really secure, happy ones. The difference is how they fight and what they fight about.
Okay. How do secure couples fight differently?
They tend not to generalize. They stick to the specific issue rather than making it a character flaw. They seek resolution, not just to win. Conflict, handled well, can actually deepen the bond, build more understanding.
Interesting. So beyond close relationships, what about the broader social world? Norms, modeling.
Huge influence. James Clear points out how much we imitate others' habits. Bandura's social learning theory really digs into this. We learn tons just by watching.
Vicarious reinforcement.
Yeah.
Watching someone else get rewarded.
Yep. Or vicarious punishment, seeing someone. It's a chilling example, yeah. Zimbardo showed how quickly a norm of abuse could take hold just based on roles and group behavior, even with ordinary people. It's a stark reminder of how powerfully situations and social cues can shape our actions.
But it works the other way too, right? Positive modeling.
Absolutely. High standards, ethical behavior, skills, these are emulated too, especially when they're recognized and rewarded socially. Seeing others succeed through effort and integrity encourages similar behavior in us.
So consciously choosing who we spend time with, the groups we join, that's part of designing our environment.
A massive part. Surround yourself with people who embody the qualities you want to cultivate. Their behavior becomes a powerful, positive, reinforcing influence. We absorb the norms of our tribe.
Okay, last piece of this architecture. Structuring your daily routines and goals. How do we make the environment support our specific intentions day to day?
Clear's idea of habit contracts is great here. Using accountability.
Like having a workout buddy you have to report to.
Exactly. Or telling people your goals publicly. Or setting up consequences, like that app where you pay money if you miss a workout. It creates an external structure, a contingent arrangement, where rewards or avoiding punishment are tied directly to doing the behavior. It adds teeth to your intentions.
And what about the goals themselves, just aiming high?
Bandura's research suggests setting moderately difficult sub-goals is way more effective. Big, vague, super hard goals often lead to failure, which kills motivation. Breaking it down into smaller, achievable steps keeps you winning, keeps you motivated.
Little wins build momentum.
Precisely. And finally, self-reinforcement. This is key for self-mastery. It means setting your own standards and rewarding yourself contingently only when you meet them.
So not just giving yourself a treat whenever, but tying it to achieving a specific goal.
Right. It might involve a bit of self-denial up front, but Bandura found it leads to greater proficiency and better long-term outcomes than just getting rewards randomly. You're training yourself, reinforcing your own desired behaviors.
Okay, so we've built the external architecture, the
Yep.
physical space, the social circles, the routines. Now we turn inward to the inner landscape, mindset, identity, and meaning. How does the world we build connect with who we are inside?
They're deeply intertwined. Our habits, as James Clear says, aren't just things we do, they actually embody our identity.
How so?
Every time you perform a habit, you're casting a vote for the type of person you are. If you go for a run, even when you don't feel like it, you're voting for, I am a runner. Consistently act like a certain type of person, and you start to believe you are that person.
So changing behavior can actually change your self-concept, shifting from I want to be healthy to I am a healthy person.
Exactly. And that identity shift makes the behaviors feel more natural, less effortful. It becomes who you are, not just something you're trying to do. The environment reinforces the identity, which reinforces the behavior. It's a loop.
And identity is tied up with mindset, isn't
You
it? Carol Dweck's work on the growth mindset seems crucial here.
Absolutely crucial. The growth mindset is that core belief that your abilities aren't fixed, that you can develop them through dedication, effort, learning. It's about loving challenges, sticking with things even when they get tough.
Seeing setbacks as opportunities to learn, not as proof you're not good enough.
Precisely. And this isn't just about individuals. Dweck found it starts early. Kids develop fixed mindsets if parents treat mistakes as disasters or only praise innate talent. They copy our reactions.
And it impacts organizations too.
Big time. Companies with a growth mindset culture tend to have more trust, innovation, better collaboration. People feel safer taking risks, learning from failures. The internal landscape of individuals shapes the collective environment.
Beyond mindset, what about just general outlook, optimism? Seligman talks about this as a health asset.
Yeah, both Seligman and Goleman highlight this. Pessimism, especially that tendency to blame setbacks on permanent personal flaws, makes people, especially kids, really vulnerable to depression.
Learned helplessness.
Exactly. Optimism, on the other hand, seeing setbacks as temporary, specific, and often external acts like a psychological immune system. It improves physical health, resilience, motivation. It's a way of interpreting the world that actively benefits you. And importantly, it can often be learned.
So we're not just passive recipients of our thoughts. We can cultivate these things.
That's the empowering message. Csikszentmihalyi talks about the control of consciousness. He argues that consciousness has evolved the ability to actually override basic genetic programming or environmental conditioning. We can choose where to direct our attention, how to interpret things.
It's a skill. We can get better at directing our own minds.
Yes. It's perhaps the ultimate form of self-mastery, not being pushed around by every external stimulus or internal whim, but intentionally cultivating focus, choosing our responses. That's real freedom.
And maybe the deepest part of this inner landscape is the search for meaning. Viktor Frankl's work seems so relevant here.
Incredibly relevant. Frankl, from his own horrific experiences, developed logotherapy. The idea that our primary drive isn't pleasure or power, but meaning, the will to meaning.
And we find meaning how? Through work, love.
Those are two key ways, yes.
Yeah.
Creative work, making a contribution, experiencing something fully, beauty, truth, love. But Frankl added a third, profound way. Finding meaning even in unavoidable suffering.
How?
By the attitude we choose to take towards it. Facing hardship with courage, dignity, finding a purpose within the suffering itself. He saw this as the unique human potential to turn tragedy into triumph, internally at least.
That's powerful. It contrasts sharply with just trying to avoid pain or seek pleasure all the time.
Completely. He argued that suffering bravely borne gives a sense of pride, not something to be ashamed of or merely escaped. It provides a deeper motivation, essential for resilience, for finding purpose when things are incredibly tough. If that search for meaning is blocked, you get existential frustration, that feeling of emptiness.
And this meaning thing, it's not always conscious or logical, is it? Jung talked about archetypal meaning.
Jung believed we're born with certain innate psychological structures, these archetypes, residing in the collective unconscious.
Yeah.
They're like universal patterns. The hero, the mother, the shadow.
And they shape how we experience the world, how we find meaning.
Yes, they provide a kind of matrix, he thought, into which our personal experiences are poured. We automatically find patterns, attribute significance, often unconsciously, based on these underlying archetypes. They show up in myths, dreams, and even in our complexes.
Complexes, like the mother complex.
Right. Jung saw complexes like that as rooted in these archetypes, manifesting in various ways in our lives, maybe relationship patterns, career choices, anxieties. The unconscious, for Jung, wasn't just repressed stuff, it was also the source of potential, of meaning, these guiding patterns that influence us deeply.
So our personal Walden, too, isn't just about conscious design. It's also shaped by these deeper unconscious currents of meaning.
Exactly. Understanding that adds another layer. It reminds us that architecting our world involves engaging not just with the external environment and conscious goals, but also with the deeper patterns and narratives playing out within our own psyche. Hashtag tag tag outro.
Wow. Okay. That was quite a journey. We started with Skinner, this idea of environmental control, which can seem a bit cold, maybe.
Deterministic even.
Right. But we've unpacked how understanding those principles, the reinforcement, consequences, modeling, isn't about being a puppet. It's actually the key to pulling your own strings.
It's about intentionality, recognizing the forces shaping you and then choosing to harness them to design an environment, physical, social, internal, that actively supports who you want to become.
From arranging your room, to choosing your friends, to structure your day, to cultivating a growth mindset and finding meaning. Every element is a lever you could potentially adjust.
It's about becoming the architect, not just the resident, of your own life. And it's not a one-time job, is it? It's constant.
No, definitely an ongoing process. Awareness, design, adjustment, commitment. Building that personal Walden, too, requires continuous effort.
But the goal isn't perfection. It's about creating an environment where your desired behaviors feel more natural, more likely. An environment that pulls you towards your best self instead of you constantly having to fight against it.
Making the uphill path feel a little more level, maybe even slightly downhill sometimes.
That's a good way to put it. Designing for ease, for flow, towards your own chosen goals.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something for you, the listener, to chew on. A final thought. If your environment, right now, your home, your relationships, your routines, even your dominant thoughts, if it's all a mirror reflecting your habits and choices, what story is that mirror telling you today?
And maybe more importantly, what new story could it tell? What changes, small or large, could you start making today to consciously, courageously begin reauthoring that reflection?
Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. We'll see you next time.